relationships.
Yes. Should I put it up?
Yeah, pull it up. Let's do it.
There we go.
Here we go.
That's nice.
All right, so we've been working on this in the mastermind for a little bit. We've been chatting about it with the students a little bit. But today, we'll do a bit more of a deep dive into this and take your questions as well. You guys watching this live. So essentially, the first principle of retention and setting up relationships is you need to be thinking about this from moment to moment and not jump too far ahead. So I think the first thing I want to talk about, boys, is obviously you can see this like triangle up here, or if you put it the other way, it's more of a filter. But the first thing I'm thinking about is just first sexual encounter. So if I meet a girl, I'm not sitting there putting her in a bucket of like relationship material or fuck buddy material, like one night stand material or anything like that. Like usually when I'm meeting a girl, I'm just thinking basically binary decision. Like, do I want to take this girl home or not?
Yeah.
Is that how you guys feel about your dates?
Yeah, pretty much.
And so I think it's important for guys to not future project too much, because I think what we see most is someone makes a decision that a girl is girlfriend material too early without fucking knowing her, and then they just become overly needy. They don't even want to have sex with a girl half the time. They're like, I just want to like cuddle her and hold hands. And, she's a girlfriend girl, so why would I ever take her clothes off and have sex with her? And so you put her in like this basket, you treat her in this way, and women just don't find her attractive. Right? They don't want a guy that's already sold before they know anything about them.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. So basically, when you meet a girl, first thing I think guys should ask themselves is, am I sexually attracted? Do I want to have sex with her? And I think this is a function as well of how much experience you actually have. Because there's some guys that are like fucking 35 years old, slept with like 2 girls, and they're constantly saying, no, not this girl, not this girl. The expectation is just way too high. And so I think like it needs to be a function of that. It needs to be a function of what you can learn from this. It needs to be a function of you just going to have fun. And that should be basically the binary decision to begin with.
Yeah. What do you think about this, Mark? It might be a little bit off topic, but let's say in terms of like having a realistic expectation, let's say if on the arbitrary scale of 1 to 10, most people would consider you to be a male 6. Is it then reasonable for you to expect to only go on dates with girls who are 9s or 10s?
Depending where you're at. If you've just started a game, then fuck no. Okay, if you've just started a game and you've had like 0 experience, 0 success ever, and then you start out, you're on Tinder, you're on cold approach, you need to be able to learn, right? And there's going to be different levels to that. Like if you're approaching and there's no girls around to approach, like fuck it, like practice these things on anyone you can speak to. So if you have no girls to approach and you're at the office or some shit, and fucking Bridget from IT or something comes over. Just have a conversation where you can practice being more engaging, you practice being more charismatic. And if you're in a situation where you're out in the club and like the girl's not the perfect girl, it's not the girl you want to marry, like maybe she turns around and says something that goes against like what you'd look for in a girlfriend. Like maybe you want a girl that's really religious or isn't religious, or maybe you want a girl that can travel around, this girl doesn't want to travel, or like maybe you don't want kids and this girl's like, I can't wait to have kids. That doesn't fucking matter, okay? We're at the point, you're at a club, you're in this girl, you're like on Tinder. Just like, am I going to have a good experience from this? Am I going to learn something from this? Yes or no? Yeah.
Solid.
All right. Then next step, basically, we can see like a timeline here as well. So this is obviously first meet. Then the next meet, the next thing I basically just ask myself is, did I have a good time? Right? So after the first time, do I want to see her again? Usually that's going to be based on sexual compatibility and a couple of other things, but mostly sexual compatibility. And yeah, did I have fun? Do I just want to repeat that? Again, we're not jumping to conclusions. We're not planning our lives together. We're not planning multiple meets. We're not planning weekends away. Just simply sexual compatibility. Was that fun?
Yeah.
Anything to add to that?
No, I mean, fuck, you're summarizing it so well, so it's fucking really difficult to add anything on top of it. But yeah, it's going to be that compatibility. But I mean, it's also going to be, like, I would also say, like, non-sexual compatibility. Like, how much did you actually, like, enjoy, like, talking to her? How much did you actually enjoy just hanging out? Like, you know, do you enjoy just having her next to you for no particular, like, she's just chilling next to you and it's good? Or, like, do you feel, like, slightly annoyed by it? Like it's going to be different, right? So I think that's also, like, a big factor.
Yeah, this dives into, I think, the next point here, which is, if you decide to have her around as like something a little bit more casual, so we can call this fuck buddy, friends with benefits. If you want to see this girl more than twice, right? You know, this time period is making a mess here. Is usually around like the 2 to 5 meet stage. This is where I get into like non-sexual compatibility. So this is where I start to ask myself those questions a little bit more specifically, which is, do I enjoy spending time with her? Like, is she fun? Do I outside of sex, do I want her around? Right. So I think it's like, basically the next level here. And again, focus on just taking it step by step, because something that happens as well is you might get to this stage. Okay. And maybe boys, doesn't work out. All right. That's going to happen when you're learning. Maybe you get to this stage, you go on like 4 meets with this girl, and then she's like, hey, I found a boyfriend, I'm seeing someone else, or I'm leaving the country, or like, hey, I don't fucking like you, okay, I'm not seeing you anymore. Or she goes to some shit. is losing someone that you've been on like 4 meets with and it just didn't work out is easy to get over. It's no problem, right? Someone that you've met 4 times, right? It was fun, it was cool, but all right, see you, bye. But okay, if you've emotionally invested way beyond 4 meets, if you've pictured your fucking life together, if you're at this stage, you're putting in a relationship category, it's going to really suck to lose this girl, right? It's the one-eyed shit. So again, that's like important too. The easiest way to make sure you're having like attractive behaviors is focusing on the mindset first. So yeah, just like remember we're at this stage. All right, now next stage. Okay, 3 months in, this is where I start thinking about serious casual relationship. Right, so we're moving out from casual. There's more things that the girls learned here. There's more things you're going to do with her. This is usually around the stage where girls might start asking like, "What are we?" or "What's going on here?" So again, at this point, I don't want to dive into a relationship. You don't know enough about her yet. We can go into what you need to know about her to be able to get to this stage, but I guarantee you, after like 3 months, you don't know enough about a girl to get into a relationship with her. So this is where we get into this serious casual relationship territory. Do you guys want to share some of the things you look for?
Yeah, I'm actually curious when you're at this serious casual relationship, how many side girls or girls in your rotation do you have at this point? Because I know, like, when you get to this stage, I don't have like usually that many girls on that stage. It's like one girl every 2 years or something, and I usually like kind of cut down on a little bit of my rotation at that point, not fully.
Yeah, 100%. Like the triangle here is probably a good representation of the spread, right? So down the bottom, there's probably going to be a lot of like first sexual encounters. Some of those get kind of cut out. You're like, oh, didn't really enjoy that. Wasn't, whatever. Then sexual acquaintances. So you're going to see them a few times. Some of those you might get kind of bored of, you're not really interested in, or like they show more of their personality and you're just like, hey, I'm just not a fan of this. And then the casual, like fuck buddy. Yeah, you can have a lot of those and you don't have to see them like every week, right? This could be, I used to call them like my threesome girls, right? Or you might have girls that you call up, or you might have girls that you see every now and again. But this like serious casual relationship, you just literally don't have time if you're going to have too many girls in this category, right? Like it's just not going to happen. Serious casual is I considering seeing these girls like probably once a week, right? And so you can't do that with more than like 3 girls. Like 3 girls, I feel like is kind of pushing it at that point. That's going to be difficult because now you're guaranteeing like you're messaging a bunch of girls every day, or every second day, and then you're meeting up with all these girls once a week. That's 3 of your days already gone. It's a little like emotional investment. So it depends on who you are and how much time you have. But for me, like I'd say like 3 was probably my limit here for myself. Alex might be more of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking back at this right now, and honestly, it's a bit blurry. But I've had probably at least like 5 or 6 of these at the same time at some point. But it all depends on like what you're doing, because if you're staying in one city for like a year plus, this is like doable. But if you're in the city for a month, obviously like the time frames, they just don't work out. So if I'm staying in the city for a long time, then these are definitely gonna like accumulate over time. And there was one period where I had like. Yeah, but I would say like probably like 5 or 6 would be like my upper limit, because I think it would be so difficult to like schedule after that point. But I think that would be like the limiting factor. Like how much can you actually like schedule? But it eats up a fuckload of time. So like honestly, like I don't like I just don't think it's worth it at that point. Like it's probably better to do as you guys are doing, like cut it down to like 3.
And by the way, just real quick, he cut out all his serious casual relationships so he could get Infield for you guys.
Okay, yeah. Like I literally moved from the country and I ditched the rotation for like 30, 40 plus girls. Just because, just so I can travel the world and like do Infield for you guys.
Well, it's a sacrifice.
Sacrifice, but you gotta make them. You gotta make them. You can't get comfortable in your like your little rotation bubble. You gotta get the fuck out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna share with you. No, I was gonna ask you because I'm actually curious. Yeah. What is like the biggest factor when it comes from like casual to serious casual? Is there like one thing where you go, okay, we've been seeing each other for a few months, but there's this one particular fucking thing that other girls in my rotation, they just don't have. So she's going to immediately jump to like serious casual.
All right. This is
what I have a couple things, but I'm just curious about you.
So I'm gonna run you through the list I have here, and then I'm probably gonna give you like the one real big thing that I look for. Okay. So these are the questions that I think everyone should ask themselves is, okay, do I want to be seen in public with her? Right? If you don't, probably a red flag. Does she get along with my friends? Is she emotionally stable? Does she have healthy coping mechanisms? So what I mean by that is she's got a really bad day or some shit has happened. Is it like the end of the world or she didn't know how to get through that? How does she handle conflict? Not just between like you and her, it's early, you might not face that, but how does she handle conflict between her friends? Is she constantly bitching about her friends all the time? Or does she usually get along with everyone and she's like gets along with the boss at work and things like that? Do you share similarities? Am I putting her on a pedestal? That's a good question. Ask yourself. You never want to advance a relationship if it's not a relationship that is built in reality. If you're fantasizing about this girl, that's why it goes back to like, do my friends get along with her? Do my friends approve of her? Because that is a good way to test for that. Is she confident in herself? Does she react to jealousy appropriately? And let me scroll down to my others if I can. Does she meet the standards you would set in place before you met her? So this is important because as you meet someone, you might be like, oh, well, no, it's okay. And you kind of like blur the lines and suddenly like, no, have a clear list of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable and use that as your objective measurement. Don't wait until you get feelings before you ask yourself that. Okay, does she maintain her individuality? So I don't want a girl, this is me personally, I don't want a girl that is like, I'm the only thing that fucking matters at this point. Like I want her to be able to have her own life, her own friends and all that shit. Reliable, does she say and follow up with what she does? So, you know, the obvious example here is like flaking and shit, but also everything else. And again, like it's easy for her to maintain certain behaviors with your relationship, but it's what is telling at these early stages is, does she maintain with relationships outside of you guys? That's going to be a big red flag. So these are the things I ask for. Honestly, like the biggest thing that I kind of on a feels-based thing is how much fun do I have with this person? So for me, I do like someone that's like outgoing, challenging, that we can have like interesting conversations with. So my kind of metric, if all these things are ticked off, is how much do I enjoy her coming over and that 2 hours of conversation. And then another big one is we need to have like amazing sexual intimacy and chemistry, but that's kind of covered before that step. They usually don't advance unless they have that. So they're probably my two big things.
I think that's a really good list. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like all of those things are fucking great. I think the biggest thing for me really is, you know, just having them around, just in your presence. Let's say if they're sitting in your living room all day, do you feel slightly annoyed that someone is there, or do you feel better because of it? I think that's a big thing. Like, do you get sick of them? Like, do you get tired and bored of them? Like, I think that's a really big thing. Obviously, like, it's not going to be the same thing, like longer in. You know what I mean? But no, but
can
like,
I just say, Alex?
Yeah,
can I just say for those that don't know, okay, you would consider yourself like introverted, yeah?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Alex is like very introverted, and so I think like having someone around and him putting up with that person being around is like a really high threshold to meet. So that's why, like, when you're saying this, I know what you mean, because if I can see a girl hang around you for an extended period of time and you're like happy and cool and things, I'm like, damn, this girl must be incredible and you guys are a good mix, because I know otherwise you'd be like, I need my space.
Exactly. Yeah. So we should probably like pre-frame it with that. That's absolutely true. I mean, also, I think just like, I mean, something I definitely look at is like, how do they just treat people in general? Like, how do you treat the waiter? Like that, those kind of things. It's important. Like if they're like rude to other people, but not to me, that's still a big fucking problem. Like I cannot do that. Absolutely cannot do that. Yeah, I mean, I think that plus everything you said is pretty much that for me.
What about you, Swifty?
Yeah, I was thinking about what you said about, you know, having her own individual life and, you know, not reliant on you. And I'm kind of the opposite. I'm okay with her not having her own individual fucking life and, you know, being reliant on me. Yeah, I mean, self-esteem. But I think what Alex was saying about being able to just have her in your place, like I want her to be able to be here every single day, not cause stress or drama. And I could do live streams. She could be in the background listening to my pre-selection stories. So like, can she? I think she has to be introverted and a little bit quiet as well, right? Because if she's constantly like, oh, let's do this social event and this, and let's go out, let's run around, I would be so fucking exhausted from that. I'd be like, nah, I'm good. Because like I have to socialize with motherfuckers all day. So I want to be able to just chill inside or have her kind of existing somewhere in the corner. Yeah, I mean, jealousy, how she handles jealousy, no drama, no trauma, you know, high self-esteem, mentally healthy. That's super fucking important.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of this, as you can see, there's like some differences we have here. So I think like a big part of this as well is getting that experience to know what you fucking like and don't like and what is suitable within your lifestyle, which is another reason why you don't dive into a relationship really early, because once you get good at this, you can have a lot of these dynamics set up, and that's a lot of different women you can experience it with. And then it can really be a filtering process where, yeah, there's someone that maybe is a little bit too outgoing or like energetic, and you're like, fuck, there's no way I could like have this girl at a serious relationship level. Okay, she can stay as a fuck buddy, I'll say right now and again, and that works out.
Yeah, bro, that's how I found out that I really actually like the very, very quiet, introverted girl, because I had one girl one day and the next day I had another girl. And the sort of contrast between the two, one was super high energy and energetic and blah, 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 talkative. And the other one was quiet, rarely said a fucking word, but was sort of happy, just kind of chilling there. And I got to see the difference. And I realized actually that's exactly what I need. Very quiet, chill, introverted girl.
That's interesting because I realized it's the complete opposite for me. Is the quiet ones that I like. I can't do it. I can't do it. I like the girl who is actually like more extrovert and she like pumps my state. You know what I mean?
Gets you going.
Yeah, she pumps my state.
Nah, bro, you could look. My main girl, she doesn't talk much at all. She's super fucking quiet. Like you've walked in and seen me like do presentations in front of her, right? Like she sat down in a chair and I'm just doing a whole fucking presentation. You'll learn to just talk a lot. Like we do live streams, like 8-hour live streams in the mastermind. But like after the live streams, I'm still talking. I'm still like practicing routines on her, like frames and telling pre-selection stories. And
she's actually our best student.
She's on point. I mean, I know she is.
No, really,
we got a question here. What's up, boys? Andrew, my man. Would you say it's better to have a girl with help? Yes. I mean, 100%, like every way, shape, or form. Is it a very important factor? It just depends on the other quality. I mean, I would say that it's never going to be a negative. It's never going to be, fuck yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, just because she has a healthy self-esteem doesn't mean she's a fucking narcissist, right? She could be very quiet and sweet and introverted and still have a very high self-esteem, very confident.
Yes,
I think this is one of the traps guys walk into when a girl is in front of them and they're like, I just don't think I'm good enough for you, and I don't really like my guys love that. Okay, they like taking on that, like it feels very safe. They like taking on that nurturing role. Like it feels really good at first, okay, but you don't. This is not a good thing to have when you're like a year in or some shit. And if you constantly have to be reassuring your goal all the fucking time, you constantly have to be like this emotional support, like above and beyond what should be expected for any type of relationship. That gets really fucking annoying. That gets draining as fuck. So yeah, it might feel like, especially I don't want to call anyone out, but especially if you're a bit of a nice guy, that could feel good. But yeah, it's awful. It's definitely you should look at someone that is.
And what happens if you don't like satisfy that side of her, and you don't give her attention? Maybe you're taking a little break. Her self-esteem is a little bit low during a little period when you're like on a business trip or something. Like what's gonna happen?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, look, the guys who are gonna love this primarily is gonna be low self-esteem guys because they're gonna get in a cycle of like just validating each other, and she's that's gonna be very bad. That's a recipe for a fucking disaster. Man, I wonder who that can be, Marcus.
When I said nice guy, yeah,
definitely not Andrew. Definitely not Andrew. He doesn't do that shit. Okay, should we do Lowe's questions as well? Yeah, I think we do. It seems on topic. I've got a girl in rotation in a casual frame at the moment. She's very adamant about being emotionally unavailable and wanting to be friends. But I feel some of her actions are leaning towards serious casual. How do you guys weigh words versus action when it comes to frames?
Well, what do you want? Like, what have you been trying to get from the school? That's important.
Yeah, I think like behaviors, I'm always going to weigh way more than words. But it just depends how good you are at reading behaviors as well. Because there are some girls that want something completely casual and can almost like very much like emotionally detach and be okay with that. But yeah, the behaviors might not align with that as much. Like maybe they do want to see you quite often, or maybe they just like message a bunch. But yeah, for the most part, outside of what the extremes would be, then yeah, like behaviors are going to matter, because especially when girls know that you just want something casual, they might say like, oh yes, me too. And then the behaviors won't reflect that. They'll want to see you all the time. They'll get upset. So yeah, I care way more about her behaviors than I ever would her words, and the reverse should be true. Is that your words don't mean shit. All your actions and behaviors should be framed around what you want.
And look, she might be worried that if she gets you to the serious casual sort of stage, that you're going to want more immediately. You want to jump to like the formal relationship and get a little bit too attached, right? Like I'm kind of stuck in the serious casual with one girl, Mark, I think as well. But she may not want that formal relationship, so she's a little bit worried about you jumping up into that formal. What do you think about that, Mark?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's tough, but you got to try align everything as much as you can and give her as much guidance as she can, so she knows what to do and where you're at. So I get a lot of guys saying when it comes to like relationship dynamics, which is, she's asking me like after the second meet, what are we? And she wants to have something like after the second meet, it should be very clear what you guys are, right? all your girls should be very clear that it's like casual at the beginning, and that's what it is. Like there should be no questioning after like the first or second meet. That's absolutely fucking crazy. So it's really about trying to paint the picture for them. She's been pretty great to hang out with in small trips. I don't want to date her, but I'm bound to see her twice a week. Go on more trips unless that's a bad idea.
Why not?
I mean, I think if you're very, very fucking clear that this is only a casual thing, maybe.
Yeah.
But the problem is like more like the girls, like more investment, the girls are going to think it's something a little bit more serious. So the more trips you do, the more time you spend with her.
Yeah, consistently twice a week in small trips sounds like very serious to me.
Yeah.
It would be a good opportunity to practice the framing. Putting yourself in like one of those difficult to frame situations, but still maintaining it. I mean, that's kind of what you fucking have to do to learn anyway, right?
Yeah, but then we might not see him. We might not see him for like 3 years.
Well, that's the downside. That's the downside, that he might fall into her frame, and then it comes back in 4 years. Hey guys, I left the mastermind. I don't know how to get pussy anymore. Like fucking everyone.
Okay, let's go to, so that was serious casual, and then obviously the next one is like going to be formal relationship, whether it's exclusive or open. And so then I have another list of questions. I wrote here after 6 months. If I can move to the side, which you won't let me do. I essentially wrote here after 6 months. This is something you can get into. I have a feeling Swift is going to say a lot longer than 6 months. What are your feelings on this?
Yeah, it's got to be longer than 6 months. 6 months is nothing.
Yeah,
like I really think at least 2 years.
Jesus Christ. Okay, I wouldn't say that far. My feeling here is a year. The reason I put 6 months is because I know all these motherfuckers are doing like 1 month. But yeah, it's 6 months to a year. I'd recommend a year. 2 years feels too long, but
No.
All right. So the things I wrote here is wanting the same relationship dynamic. So that would be like open versus closed. And then this is going to be a lot of like value future based shit here. So if kids are a big deal for you, so wanting kids or not, will she get along with your family or her family? Does she have good financial responsibility? Does she have good communication skills and conflict resolution with you? So by this point, there should be like some things that have come up here. Do you share a general life philosophy? Do you have compatibility and expected relationship roles? And does she manage your image to her friends? So is she ever talking shit about you to her friends? Are the above points and her goals stable across time, or do they drastically change? So if you've met a goal and some of these things were true like 6 months ago, but then they changed 3 months ago, and they like if things are like drastically changing in her life and with her, it's probably not a good time to get in a relationship. And then have I seen enough appropriate situations to answer the above questions? So this is when it comes to the time. I'm a big believer in you just need enough behaviors here. So there's 6 months to a year that I was saying, or like Swift 2 years, is you could probably know a girl for 2 years. But if you haven't seen some of these things, you're probably not ready. And you could probably see a girl for a year. And if you spend a lot of time together, you're going on holidays, you're going through all this, and you know it's moved fairly quickly, then you probably can answer yes to a lot of these things. So it's not just time. It's seeing her in different situations and behaviors and being able to answer to these questions. So if you haven't had these discussions with her, like if you don't even know what her life philosophy is, what like you need to find this shit out. Yeah.
Yes, fucking spot on.
All right, do you want to add anything to that?
I mean, if she's cheated on you, you probably don't want to get to that stage as well.
Yeah.
I'm
only saying that because I've had guys say, "Hey, you know, she did kind of cheat on me, like when we were in that like 6 month stage or 5 month stage." But I'm thinking like it's been 5 months since she did that shit. I'm like, no, absolutely.
Well, yeah. Why the fuck does that matter?
Yeah.
Right.
The thing is, you're so early in these relationships that these big red flags, it shouldn't even be a fucking question. Like if you already have kids with a girl, and then maybe one of these like red flag things pop up, right? Maybe like financial responsibilities and how you agreed on it. I wouldn't be like, okay, dump this girl now. Okay. But the benefit is like, if you're at this stage and then you find out, oh, she's a bit flaky, she doesn't really like enjoy friends that much. Yeah, fucking don't advance it to the next level. Now, it's different if you're already in a relationship, you've been dating a girl for a few years or something. But yeah, something like cheating, that shouldn't even be a question. If that happens over here, yeah, you should never advance up.
On that topic, what does it mean if a girl talking shit to her friends about you? I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
You gotta fucking get rid of her.
See you bye. Yeah, you need your girl to be managing your frame, your image to her friends and everyone around her. I don't care if there's like a time that you're like 6 months in, you're not exclusive yet or some shit, or you're not in a serious like really. and maybe she sees you on a date with some other girl, or you post something and she gets really mad. If she goes and talks shit about you to her friends and never corrects that image, no, she does not deserve to move up. You should never get into a relationship with a girl that is actively having friends that don't like you or don't want to spend time with you, or even if they want to spend, like, even if it's like a little bit like, oh, that guy, no, fuck it, right? She either gets rid of those friends or she manages your image correctly, because you just don't want to be in a relationship with a girl that is going to talk shit about you to her friends.
Absolutely fucking true. It is. Yeah, 100%. Look, if her, let's say, if we take an example that's maybe relatable to the guys, let's say that, when you met her in night game 6 months ago, she was with her big, not very nutritionally disciplined, unattractive friend, and that friend is still talking shit about you. She wasn't the first night because she's fucking jealous. She's still doing that, like 2 months in, 3 months in, 6 months in, and she hasn't fixed that or told her friend to stop doing that. That's the fucking problem.
Yep. See you. Bye.
Yeah.
Should we talk a little bit about setting the frame, like what behaviors we'd expect in the different levels? Do you guys want to get into that?
Yeah, unless people have questions about what we just talked about.
Yeah, it will never work. The friend's going to suggest her to get rid of me. Haha. Agree. Alexa, yo, what up, guys? Just join. Good to see you all together. Dropping this value bomb. Good to have you.
Yes, sir.
All right, Alex, you want to talk about setting the frame from the very beginning? How do you keep it casual on the first date, first night, first meet?
Yeah. So I mean, you could talk about this on a lot of different levels. But like, I go on a lot of dates with like girls from Raya and stuff, and these are girls who are like, they're always gonna try to fucking set frames on the first date about relationships and stuff. So like, I want to nuke that shit immediately. Like, actually, like, you can hear on my audio Infield from yesterday with the girl from the game, where essentially like, I'm nuking their frames from the fucking beginning. Like, I like to bring up the topic of red flags, and I think this is just as an easy, because you can take their logic with red flags. You see the shit on TikTok. You can take like icks, like what's your biggest ick in a girl? And I'll be like, well, my biggest ick is when a girl is like super desperate to get in relationships, because to me she screams emotional immaturity, because she's not able to just be by herself. She's rushing into these things. Like, I like to go really hard on these frames, and I'll be like honestly, like, like, I'm a very understanding guy and all this stuff, but there's just nothing that makes me lose attraction to a girl quicker than if she tries to suggest relationships like too early on, because it just screams emotional immaturity. Like, she can't be by herself. It's like low self-esteem behavior, low vibrational frequency. So if I even notice that a girl is even like trying to imply those things, to me it's already over. Like, unfortunately, I just lose all attraction. So I like to set those frames very, very hard from like the beginning of the fucking first date. So I discourage this very, very early. And then also, like, I talk pre-selection, all these things, but also like, obviously I'm framing it like, hey, down the road, like, I'm very open to these things. Like, I don't like one night stands, because if I see a girl multiple times, she needs to be my fucking type, and I would only even go on a date with a girl who's my type. So why wouldn't I want to see her over and over again? The point is that, like, I don't like the desperation or like the pressure. That's what I don't like. So I'm setting those frames from the very, very beginning. I mean, at that point, they're gonna get the fucking hint. And also, like, pre-selection, you just got to do it in the right way, where it doesn't sound like you're like fucking literally like every girl who wants to fuck you, because pre-selection also needs to be framed in a way that you have standards, right? So, they're attractive girls, mentally healthy, all these things. And also, I like to set frames that actually, like, interestingly enough, like, most girls that I ended up having the most amazing relationships with were also girls that I slept with the first night. So if you put all these together, it's fucking easy, bro.
Nice.
Yeah,
well,
interesting.
But I think, just again, going back to the mindset angle, if you just remind yourself, you're just looking to take her home on that first night, right? It's not a relationship goal. You're not looking for that. You don't need to have these deep platonic, like, tell me more about your grandmother conversations. You don't need to feed into that, right? Keep it fun, keep it light, keep it sexual. So the frame, I love the red flag talk. That's awesome. And yeah, you'd be sweet in this first night.
Yeah. I mean, fuck. Like, I probably do a lot more things in that regard as well. I'll usually also set frames that, like, yeah, like, one big reason why so many women are miserable in their relationships is because they didn't actually test for sexual compatibility before they started setting expectations of having a relationship. I mean, you're a woman. I'm sure you've experienced this. So if you say it in this way, they're gonna think back at like previous experiences, like, oh fuck yeah, he's actually right. I'm sure you've experienced something where you got feeling for a guy, he got feeling for you, and then you had sex after that. And you just realize that it's just like, this is not fixable. This is like fucked. And now you have to break it off when you're both attached. And now it's just like a worse situation for everyone. Mm-hmm. You set a bunch of those frames.
What do you think the biggest mistake guys make in that first sexual encounter that kind of prevents them from moving to the next stage? I think one in particular, but what do you guys think?
Okay, so you mean like the first time they're fucking, basically?
Well, I think that maybe even on a date before they even get to fucking.
Okay, well, having this idea in the head that, oh, this is like a relationship girl, or like essentially like you're giving her that like good girl identity for like no fucking reason, honestly. Trust me, like I don't even think those girls exist. Like I literally do not think they exist. So this is just if you're doing that, it's just like probably coming from like inexperience. But I would say that. So I would rather take the approach of actually setting the proper frames that allow for sexualization, so that you could just do this with every girl. So you can actually start off and you can follow the structure that Mark has set up here. Because if you're not setting these frames, you're gonna fucking do this in the reverse. You know what I mean? You're gonna start at the top and work your way down, rather than starting at the bottom and working your way up. If you're not doing it this way, it's gonna be a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. All right. Let's talk about the next stage. Or next two stages. So sexual acquaintance, or like casual kind of fuck buddy status. What are some behaviors that will set this frame, Swifty?
Say again, which one?
For sexual acquaintance or like casual fuck buddy relationships.
What was the question? I couldn't hear.
Like what frames? Like what behaviors will set the frame for this these couple of stages?
For sexual acquaintance.
Yeah, so what I'm thinking is like at first, I'm probably just going to take this girl to drinks or like straight to the house. But I'm probably more happy at these points to be doing like public dates, casual fuck buddy. I'm probably okay like taking her out, even meeting my friends at this point here. I'm happy with her like maybe going a casual fuck buddy, a trip every now and again. I'm probably seeing them like most once a week. I'm not messaging them every day personally. I'm probably like every few days. These are like kind of the behaviors that I think would fit into these categories.
Yeah, for me in sexual acquaintance, I'm not going to take them out for like coffee or drinks. I'm a straight to home, 10 p.m. like booty call fucking hour. The first 4 or 5 meets. That's going to be one meet every week. Actually, one meet every 2 weeks for the first 5 meets. And it's going to be absolutely strictly sexual. There's not going to be any talking about the future, or sometimes girls will be like, "Oh, what do you think about this movie? We could go, see this movie or do this." And I'm like, "Nope, I'm busy. Can't do that."
Yep.
Yeah, I think guys get sucked into that so easily, right? It's like the second meet, and it's like, "Oh, we should go ice skating and get ice cream or some shit." Yeah, it's like, "Yeah, it's a great idea." Yeah,
well, they get scared. They get scared that if they don't say yes, the girl's not going to come over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's over right there. So, I mean, for me, like, let's go fucking ice skating. No. That's it.
I'd love to see Swift on an ice
Yeah, nope. Bro, I went one time. It was really bad.
Did you actually?
Yeah, bro. It was. I almost killed like fucking 6 kids. It was no good.
Sounds like a good time then.
Oh, well, let's go ice skating then.
Holy shit!
Fucking ice skating Infield or something, right?
Yeah. Oh, dude, wouldn't that be fucking amazing? If I have to like approach on ice skates.
But
falling.
When you guys were younger, what's the worst date you've ever gone on?
The worst
like
date.
Like doing like the fucking I'm scared of losing her public date bullshit.
Oh shit! This was many years ago in Florida. I had just moved to Florida. I was there for a week, and this was before Tinder, by the way. There's no such thing as like Tinder apps and online dating apps. I had to use some fucking like Craigslist or some shit. And there's no like profile or anything. And I got a photo through email. I'm like, okay, it looks fine, whatever. I meet up with her in this area of the city that I'm not familiar with. And I show up to it's like Denny's, and she's drunk as fuck, high as fuck with some random fucking dude. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? We sit down, and I'm like, fuck. Well, I made it. I drove across fucking town like 45 minutes. Might as well sit down and be a little bit entertained or try to get some pussy later. Nah, she immediately started attacking all the waitresses. And we got kicked out, and I was like, "Who is this motherfucker?" It's like, "Oh, I just met him. We just did some crack." And I go, "What the fuck is this?"
That only in the US, bro.
You can't have these. You can't have crack. We took it all. We took it all. And they grab hands. They start running down the beach. They get into someone's like backyard, like private beach area, and then they join like this family. And I'm kind of like 30 feet away watching this. I'm like, "What the fuck?" It was entertaining, but a little bit crazy. I realized my phone had died. I was about to call a taxi or call, a family member to come pick me up. And I tried to get their phone to call, but they're like, no, we have to do it at the bar. So I went another like 45 minutes to this undisclosed location, went to this bar, and I'm like, can you give me the phone, So she's like, yeah, 1 second, I'm going to the bathroom. She goes to the bathroom, I'm waiting, and I walk into the bathroom or open the women's bathroom. She's halfway out the window. So her legs are hanging out the fucking window. She crawls out, and I go around the bar, and she's running down the street. Jesus, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Is this like a Craigslist?
This was like the one, and This was the last Craigslist date I ever went on.
The last
That was
Craigslist.
the last one. It was
Fun times.
Yeah.
So was that a what frame did you set there?
Yeah, I mean, was this like serious casual? Like,
was this?
Yeah, I mean, she was a crack. She was a crackhead. So you probably keep her at casual.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put that into my list. Actually, I didn't put crack.
Yeah, crackhead. Yeah, like drug issues. Yeah, I don't think I've ever because you were asking like.
Yeah, me and Alex have only had amazing first dates.
Exactly.
Yeah, we.
But I was just thinking of how like you framed the question, like this entire like trying to move this like too quickly kind of thing. I don't think I've ever had that actually, because I started doing this stuff when I started gaming. So like how exactly did you frame the question mark about the dates?
That's right. Listen, Alex doesn't want to deal with himself ever. Okay, don't worry, you don't have to.
Just tell a story that was like 15 years ago.
But I didn't go on dates 15 years ago. I started doing it when I started gaming. That's the thing. So I'd never had that in these things.
Jesus.
Right, did you ever
Dude, I used to go on fucking dinner dates. Okay, I used to sit there and have dinner. And then, dude, I remember one girl. Okay, this was so long ago. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. After the dinner date, she's like, I was like, all right, well, it was nice meeting you. Bye. Like, I was just fucking ready to go home. She's like, oh, we're not gonna like continue the date. And in my head, I was like, what do you mean continue? I already took you to fucking dinner. Like, what the fuck else do you want me to do? And then she's like, well, and I was like, what? Do you want to go for like a walk? She's like, okay, bro. I took this girl on a fucking walk. And then I was like, all right, well, bye. She's like, we're just like ending it here. And I was like, yeah, it was nice to meet you. And I was like, bro, looking back on that, I was like, how stupid can you be? Like, how many signs do I need to be given?
But I was also like that, bro. I mean, I could have had the dates and shit, but I was also just like oblivious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So that's like, to answer this question, like I had night games pulse before I had my first date, like straight up. Damn. So I already knew that, okay, like you try to close like fucking immediately, basically. So like I actually never did this, you know.
Yeah, my first close was actually a night game pool when I lost.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Sexy Alan. We're gonna go with Sexy Alan. Do you recommend letting her pitch what she wants and me reframing it how I want it, or do I just frame it the way I want it from the get-go?
Well, I mean, you're gonna have to do. But do you recommend letting her pitch what she wants? Well, I don't know exactly what you mean, but no. You want to set all the frames. You want to lead. You want to set all the frames. You're going to have to like reframe certain things, obviously, right? Like she's going to try to cut into your frames or reframe or set particular frames you may not want. And you just have to kind of maneuver through or around it and reframe these things. So it's a combination of both. But the thing is, if you're just going to sit back and let her pitch everything, well, you're not really leading. You're not setting the frames that you want. Yeah. And well, it also shows that you don't know where you're going with the relationship, right? Like you have to understand where you want to go with this relationship and what do you want out of the relationship? What do you want out of her? Like all of this has to be absolutely fucking clear in your head in order for you to actually set the frames, move it forward, and also reframe some of the shit that she's trying to set, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just gonna be fucking lost, right? She's gonna lead. You're gonna be like, do I want this or not? I don't know. Well, how do you reframe it? You're gonna be digging yourself a fucking hole, right? Trying to get out of it.
Yeah. No, I agree. But the thing is, if you're always leading and setting the frames, then you're good because even if she's pitching her thing, you're still like going with your thing. So if you just do that, you will be good no matter what.
And you leave her like less space to actually set particular frames that you're not going to want, right? Like if you're just leading, if you're leading hard and you're setting the frames that you want, most women will actually just kind of follow, right? They'll kind of follow whatever frames, they'll accept whatever frames, and there's going to be a few frames that they're not going to accept, or at least they're going to make it very difficult, right? And those are the ones that you want to kind of reframe or battle. You don't want to be doing it with every fucking frame, every step of the way, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, let's talk about serious casual relationship and what is set this frame.
Serious casual. What is the months you have over there?
So this is like 3 months.
Okay.
3 months in plus 3 months plus. So yeah, for me, this is going to be an extension on their casual fuck buddy. So this is going to be seeing probably once a week, right? So seeing it consistently. It's going to be when we hang out, I'm going to be okay with doing things that aren't just a meet. Like I'm going to be okay with going out to dinner. I'm going to be okay with going out meeting my friends. I'm going to be going out like doing activities, whatever that kind of looks like with you guys. I'm going to be okay going away on trips. I'm going to be speaking to her more. So this might be like an everyday message dynamic. Yeah, these are more. We're also. I'm going to be sharing more with her. So, for instance, like sexual acquaintance, fuck buddy, we're not going to sit down and have long talks about, for instance, like what we want our future to look like. But at this stage, yeah, I'm going to want to know what her values are, what her beliefs are, what she wants the future to look like. Because remember, we're also gathering information to know if she's going to be suitable for this next level. So yeah, that's typically what those dynamics are going to look like.
I think this is a level that a lot of guys are going to find to be like their favorite, if they could actually like really pick. It'd be that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And like for me, I don't know about you guys, but for me, in the serious casual relationship, the girl is exclusive to me. So like she has to be able to accept the fact that I'm going to night game. I'm going to be on Tinder. I'm going to have other girls. I'm going to have side bitches. She's going to be the main one, and she's going to be exclusive to me. So if she can't accept that, then we can't stay in the serious casual relationship stage. So to me, that's a really important thing. But again, I'm setting all these frames, in the first sexual encounter, right? So like instead of saying like, oh no, yes, I'm a relationship guy and connections. No, I'm straight up like, look, this is the way that I do things. Okay. Like I don't get into exclusive relationships. It's been 10 years since I got into one, and I'm setting all of these frames from the first sexual encounter to sexual acquaintance to casual. Now, a casual and sexual acquaintance, like they're gonna be like, okay, whatever, cool, because they're just thinking I'm getting fucked, I'm getting 10, 15 orgasms, whatever. So you have a little bit more compliance. They're more willing to kind of be open and accept these frames because they're like, okay, well, this is not going to lead to anything serious. So they're already accepting these frames, and once they've already accepted and understood, like, all right, this is who David is, but he's also offering me a great deal, all this value, right? I have so much fun with him, and he treats me well, and they see that if they're my main girl, they have special privileges, right? They're not just another side bitch, right? I choose her over the side bitches. So when we get to that point, usually they're perfectly okay with, being exclusive and me not.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, but guys, they won't say that because they're fucking scared.
Yeah. But you're gonna get pushback. Like at some point, you're gonna get pushback on that. Like usually, I don't get any kind of pushback, meaningful pushback, all the way up until deep into the sexual casual relationship, right? There's like a little bit of pushback, like, oh, do you have to, fuck this girl? Is it necessary? Like, what if you have a girl like me who does everything for you? Do you need side bitches, right? And like most guys are like, no, you're amazing. I don't need anything else. I'm like, well, no. I mean, the way I explain it is, look, you're here because side bitches exist. You get so much value. You're so happy because I have side bitches. Like you remove the side bitches and it's just you. Well, guess what? I'm miserable. And I'm just like wanting to get out of this. So thank a side bitch. Like I told my main girl, like write an email, write a letter thanking the girls on my rotations, the side bitches. Because you have all of this. I'm happy. I happily give you so much. And these girls are very jealous of you. You get all of this, they get nothing. They don't even get coffee or Starbucks, So like framing it that way and like letting them know like all the fucking value they get. And by the way, you have to actually have a lot to offer this girl in order to have this kind of dynamic. Like if you're working at McDonald's and you're giving her like one orgasm every 6 months, you're just kind of oblivious to, her emotional state, her thoughts, her feelings, all these things. If you're a bitch, you can't set boundaries, whatever. You're not funny. It's just really hard to propose this dynamic and have the girl accept it. Like you have to offer a lot of value. And if you can't, then like forget about it. Like just get into a fucking exclusive relationship one-on-one.
Or just fix your fucking value.
Yes.
That's the ideal thing. Or just fucking increase your value to the point where it's undeniable.
I'd rather be 40 and then finally be able to create the relationship dynamic that I want.
Yeah.
Than rush into one at like 28 and get married.
You see the guys doing that? They're fucking so fucking miserable. Like I would hate to be them. Like I would hate so much to be them.
Right.
Can you pull up Josh Eves? What do most girls want when meeting guys? For me, I screen for DTF girls, and I'm starting to be able to reframe some limiting beliefs of some girls so they are more open to one-night stands.
Yeah, but you have to kind of create what the girls want, right? So a lot of girls are going to come, meet you on this date and think, all right, well, maybe I get a new friend, maybe, I'll just get a nice dinner, maybe a relationship, But if you go on this date and really sell her on, I don't know, 30 orgasms or getting tied up and having the best experience of her life, it's sort of what Alex was talking about earlier, setting all these frames, but also having a very, very good value proposition, sexual value proposition. Well, guess what? She's going to want that, right? So you don't have to necessarily screen for DTF girls, right? Like that girl who came on the date,
every girl is
DTF. Yeah, I mean that's the mindset. Every girl's DTF, right? Yeah. But that girl might have showed up on the date not DTF. But then you kind of turn her on a little bit. You know, your game's on fucking point. You're very assertive, very dominant, very confident, and you're deeching sexually. And now she's thinking like, "Fuck, I just want to get tied up tonight." Now she's DTF.
Yeah, I think ages ago, we might even have this on YouTube still, where I was texting a girl that was very like relationship frame, talking about all this shit, and then went on a date and got that on Infield. And yeah, after sex, she was basically saying, similar to what Swift was saying, is like girls might have an overall philosophy about what they're looking for. And you might have goals that, that little thing on Tinder, what are you looking for? It might say like relationship, and maybe that's what they think going on this date. But you're not going to rule out something else that is really enjoyable in front of you, right? So I might say like, let's pick an example, like something as simple as food. It's like, hey, what do you want to eat tonight? Like maybe I say Thai, but if you're going to serve me up like a Michelin star, like, I don't know, you guys can give me another food choice here, but yeah, whatever it is, like maybe it's like some Italian food instead of Thai. If that's really amazing, I'm going to go for that. Just because I was looking for one thing doesn't mean I'm not going to get the other. So it's just about having the value there, changing the limiting beliefs that the girl might have around casual sex, and you're good.
I had a date with a girl from Raya who had put like, I'm looking for strictly like a life partner or something in her bio. But like I met up with her like close to the first night and everything. But it turns out that like sometimes girls put that because if they're like famous and they have like a public persona, they don't want to be like screenshotted as like being like a fucking slut on the internet. Exactly. So they will put that. So like, fuck, you really cannot believe that shit, because then your behaviors will get fucked from it, because you will like you're probably gonna say that like they will start behaving as if that is true, and it's gonna manifest.
Yeah, and some girls put that on there so they could kind of bait the relationship guys.
Yeah,
like, hey, I'm looking for a strong connection relationship, and the girl's like, okay, this motherfucker, like he's fucking lying. Yeah, right? The motherfuckers that go like, I don't give a fuck if that's what you want. This is what you're going to enjoy. Like they're kind of baiting that.
Yeah,
and I've had girls ask before, like, what are you looking for? And I'm just being honest, like, oh yeah, at the moment, like something casual, but like maybe something, they're like, oh, thank God, yeah, I'm looking for something casual too. And so that will happen. Like there's a lot of girls that are just looking for something casual, and so many guys are just under the belief that there's zero girls out there that are like that. And then you just like push them away by saying that. And to Alex's point, yeah, like girls are worried about their own perception. Like for a girl, it's going to feel really needy, and you're going to feel really easy if you come out there and say like, yeah, I just want something casual, right? So of course, if you're asking them, especially in a judgmental tone, or this topic comes up, they are often going to try to protect themselves, and they'll say things like, oh, I'm not that type of girl. And then suddenly when you get to display, like, I don't give a fuck if you're that type of girl, I'm not going to judge. Then they're like, okay, I am that type of girl, right? So it's like every girl loves to have like amazing sex. It's not some secret, it's not some hidden thing. Like we know that. It's just that there's going to be like some societal expectations that come with that, and some labels that come with that. As long as they know that you're not going to judge them, then it's all good.
Exactly. And like at the same time, you can't be that like red pill podcast guy who'd be like, oh, women with high lake count, they lack morals, blah, blah, blah. You can't be the guy who's like sharing that shit on your Instagram and then be like expecting to close on the first date kind of thing. So like you have to actually be like, you have to be congruent with this. If you want girls to like go with you on the first date, you want to be casual at the same time, you can't be looking for an angel and be like shocked when we hear about shit they've done. Like actually wake up to reality,
Actually, can you pull up Daniel AK, his question, because this relates exactly to him. What to do if you lose all attraction to girls that do casual? I know most girls today are polluted as fuck. This is the problem, okay? Because every single girl would love an amazing sexual experience, but you're the one that's polluted. You're the one that as soon as you have sex with a girl, now you look at her in a completely different way. Because in your mind, there's two sets of girls, okay? There's a really respectful, amazing, relationship material, cool girl, and those girls don't have sex. And then there's the girls that have sex that are awful, that are polluted, that have really high standards, that don't give a fuck about men, that do all this shit. But the problem is, every single girl likes to have sex. So suddenly, like when your good girl has sex, you just like ruins your own perception. So you're just looking at it through the wrong lens. Now, of course, there are certain heuristics you can go by. There are some girls that may be awful human beings, all right? But it's the questions that we've put in this presentation that you should be asking. Because you could have a girl that is a virgin, but she flakes on you all the time. She lies. She talks shit about you to her friends and all that. Or you could have a girl that slept with 10 guys before you, but she's absolutely incredible. She's very loyal to you. She's very honest with you. She's has a high self-esteem. All her friends get along with you. She has cool friends. It's that metric of does the girl have sex with me early is just such an awful metric to go by.
It's the worst, bro.
Traits of the girl, bro.
But also, if your game is, if you have absolutely amazing fucking game and a really good value proposition, you're going to be able to get that very, very low lay count girl to sleep with you on the first night. So, I mean, like, I can't judge women for sleeping with me on the first night because I just expect to sleep with any woman on the first night, even if she has one lay count, 0, she's a fucking virgin.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to judge, like, yeah, I'm supposed to sleep with her, right? Now, but I also, I have to say, because, Daniel or maybe some of these guys will think, like, you're saying that lay count or body count doesn't matter. Like, for me, if we get to the serious casual relationship stage, like, body count is going to matter to me. Like, if she has like 100 lay count, she may be in the sexual acquaintance or casual fuck buddy frame, because I have girls that have a large body count in that stage, and they're really cool, they're fun, they're amazing people, but I probably would not promote them to the serious casual relationship. So, like, that's just my requirement. Like, she's not very experienced, she's low body counts, but if you don't care, you don't care. That's up to you.
Yeah, I feel like body count can tell a story, okay, but it's important for you to validate that story. So it's only like 100 lay count. There's probably a reason they've slept with so many guys and gone against like those beliefs and social norms and everything like that. Like, it could be that there's some trauma related to that. It could be that it's a like bad personality trait. It could be that she's like seeking validation really hard. It could be like there's probably underlying reasons that she wouldn't be in those categories. But I would do the same thing with someone of like a virgin. Like, if there's a virgin girl, I'd be again asking myself, now it doesn't necessarily rule her out, but if she's a virgin because she's strictly hugely religious, like I don't really give a fuck that much about religion. So it's not the number that matters to me. It's the underlying principle. Personality is related to it. So the number itself doesn't matter. Like, you might have a girl with a 10 lay count that is very like slutty and just loves attention from guys, but she just stops at the point. Like, she maybe just like sucks a dick and then doesn't have sex with them. That's much worse than a girl with like a 20 lay count that isn't like that. So 100 on these extreme ends, is like likely some other shit going on there.
And another point
is like 10 to 12 or 15 or 5. Like, all these to me are the fucking same.
Yeah.
And also, look, if you're a bitch, you're a bitch. Like, a 1 lay count girl can still cheat on you.
Yeah.
Well, she could still leave you for another man. She can still cheat on you.
Yeah. Exactly. So I think it's important to actually realize these are all fucking great points. If you're disqualifying girls for their body count because you suspect that there might be negative personality traits associated with it, I think is a good reason. If you're doing it for arbitrary reason because maybe you heard from someone that, maybe you shouldn't be with whatever lay count girl, that is a fucking horrible reason. It's like as Mark's saying, it's all about why are they doing these things, because there are so many horrible reasons for why they could also be virgins. What if she's so insecure that she can't have sex? That is not a good reason. That's a very big indicator of like low self-esteem. That's fucking equally, it's equally as bad, if not even worse, in my opinion. Also, to David's point earlier, you cannot punish girls for that your amazing game is working on them, because it's fucking supposed to. You cannot.